I mean, think about this concept. An illegal comes into this country and he knows he's breaking the law. The at least reason he's broken the law is because he wants a better life for his family, or he's escaping something, poverty, violence. And the first act that he does is he gets into a crowd of protesters and hurls rocks at federal agents. Is that even a possibility? Yeah, it's happening. It's not just American citizens who have guilt or shame for restoring law and order in this country, which is crazy. Like, I thought that was pretty universal. I think for the majority of Americans it is. But at least one segment of our population, they think that anarchy and assaulting federal officers and blocking them, breaking the law, that's completely acceptable. And it's because it's been emphasized, promoted even, by left-wing radicals who want to see that chaos and calamity. Although they will call the other side the Gestapo and fascist and all these new terms that are redefined. Like, what? So let me get this straight. It's a Gestapo when you want law and order for American citizens and federal agents who are just doing their job, whereby the local departments, municipalities, refuse to do their job. Seattle, Portland, Chicago, Washington, D.C., all of them have refused to do their jobs. They have all the power at their disposal to do the job, but they just don't do it. They would rather allocate $300 billion to illegal immigrant housing, for example, in Chicago. And he has the audacity to come on any corporate media entity and spew propaganda. Well, I can tell you right now, most of the issue is just low IQ. We have a low IQ society that isn't just aptitude dumb, but also not experienced in anything. Doesn't have a world perspective or a worldly perspective. Doesn't have empathy. Doesn't have God, certainly, even though some of them will tout they do. But they'll call the administration for holding an FBI director who lied to Congress accountable for that. The same organization under the Department of Justice under Biden that went after American citizens, including the Catholic Church, worshipers, parents at parent-teacher conferences, Mike Glover, because he's a militia violent extremist. 92 conservatives and organizations listed, including Turning Point USA. And we're surprised that losers like Tyler are radicalized, coming from a conservative home and then radicalized to do violent acts against innocent people who are speaking truth or their truth. I find it mind-numbing, but I also know what the real problem is. It's just people are dumb. When you're dumb because you don't have the aptitude or the IQ, you'll believe anything. You'll bend the knee. You'll bow down to anyone and anything, and you'll stand for nothing. And these radical politicians in Chicago, in LA, in Portland, they know exactly what they're doing. They're radicalizing their base to do their dirty work for them. That's a real Gestapo. You know what didn't happen after Charlie Kirk was assassinated in public on September 10th, mere weeks ago? Streets in America weren't occupied by people who were violently attacking people that had nothing to do with it. So again, back to the origin of this conversation, the concept is you're an illegal looking for a better life for your family. So you come over here and then you get into a crowd and you hurl rocks at federal agents, which is a crime. That's not a good start. Not a good start. It's not a good look. But my understanding of how this works, in counterterrorism at least, from my background and experience, is this is deliberate. It's a campaign. We hear Soros' name thrown out a lot. Why hasn't he been held accountable? Well, because he's got his tentacles in too deep. It's the same reason why there is no trust of the U.S. government, because the deep state still exists. Look at where we're at right now, almost a week later. I can't even get VA to answer the phone. You know why? The government shut down. Because they're more concerned about going on vacation and virtue signaling their intent and expanding their stock portfolios than they are actually doing the work necessary for the American people, the people they work for. Ultimately, it's a circle jerk. And I hate to use that gross analogy because it's gross. But all of this is doing donuts in a parking lot. We're not going anywhere with this. So how does this end? Not well. What happens when you name a whole bunch of losers with low aptitude, low IQ, a terrorist organization? Better yet, an international terrorist organization, as Trump described with his cabinet members in the Oval, or I think they're doing it weekly now, the cabinet meet, this key leader engagement, where he said, yeah, what do you think? Let's do the international thing. Yep, they're international terrorists because they have international influence. What happens when these kids who have no purpose, now they have definitive purpose? Because before they were nobody. Now they're a terrorist. Or in their words, I'm sure, a freedom fighter. I love the concept of Chaz, being very sarcastic here, how Chaz was the exercise of freedom. And in Seattle, the governor, mayor, chief of police, all complicit. Nobody did their job. In fact, they allowed it to happen because it's an expression. And we need to give them the room and latitude, not enforce laws, despite them doing crime. Like, I don't know, this rapper who is running Chaz, where he's caught on video opening the trunk of a vehicle and handing out firearms, where they set up blocking positions and started checking people's ID. Oh, there was people raped and assaulted as well. It's funny how the freedom fighters, when in charge, immediately turn into a dictatorship and do exactly what they allegedly are fighting against. Interesting. So there is a deliberate campaign, for sure, to destroy Western civilization, because they want us to look like the UK, like Canada. I just saw a video that I posted on my Instagram where a Canadian looked like he was the chief of police of their area, their province, and described how a man was going to be brought up on charges for assaulting a man who broke in his home, because the advice, despite us knowing that when seconds count, especially defending your life, first responders are minutes away. He told the public to not engage with somebody breaking in your own home, that you should hide. Good luck with that. I'll never set foot in Canada because of that. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm in a hotel room, somebody breaks in, and I break them in half, defending my life or my family's life, and then I end up in prison for fighting for my family. So America is still worth fighting for. Or you have in the UK where people are being arrested. A guy just got 20 months from a judge, like a real judge wearing a wig, because they still wear wigs, stating that he was going to get 20 months in jail for offending somebody. 20 months. 20 months of taxpayer dollars. 20 months of no freedom, of tyranny. How has men in the UK not stood up? Well, seems problematic. Because if that happened here, which it's happening here in various forms, then it wouldn't be so it wouldn't just be an Instagram post, if you know what I mean. We still got something to fight for. Our families, our communities, law and order. But I could feel it and you could feel it. The country's falling apart. And we thought one administration change was going to change that. There's only so much you could do in that position. What really needs to change is the root of the problem. The root is we're lost. Fat and happy, we got it too good, and we're lost. We worship and cherish movie stars. I've seen more articles and YouTube videos on Taylor Swift and her boyfriend than I do practical news to inform American citizens of what's going on in their own backyard. More people care about what's going on in TMZ than they do at their local school boards making the decisions for their kids. More people worship material objects than they do God. More people want to spend memories that are posted and captioned on Instagram than they do creating their own memories with their family. That's scary. That's the state of affairs right now. What do you guys think? I'm done ranting for today. I'll take up this pickup truck for a drive. Peace out, guys.